Hey, what's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the 1 Hour Laser Design Challenge. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello to YouTube in the future. Hello, future me. Very, very happy to have you here. Very, very excited to be hosting the 1 Hour Design Challenge this week with a new producer, Lexine Gordon, who's going to be joining us. We've replaced Lev. He's not watching, so feel free to throw all your Lev-related jokes and humor in the chat. We'd be very excited to see that.
Yes, we have our own commissary Gordon now.
Joined as always by the very talented Miguel. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling like $1 million.
Yeah, I can tell.
And you're a Batman. You should be like Don, your Batman friend.
Dude, I'm telling you, that new trailer. I'm excited. So, okay. Here's a question for you.
Okay.
If somebody is just watching the 1 Hour Design Challenge for the first time, how would you describe the creative journey you're about to take them on right now?
Oh, today's gonna be pretty cool. Today's gonna be especially cool because I'm gonna show you guys a very needy feature inside Illustrator that would seem a little bit scary at first, but
Scary.
yes, to try and do an entire design based on that tool. But in general, as soon as you understand how it works, you can make so many cool stuff out of it. I'm doing projects and projects on top of that, so yeah.
I'm excited, man. That sounds really cool. This week, I'm not sure what it will have said on the promo. I know, Lev, we were talking about a couple different sort of promo titles and things. This week, we're going to be doing this really cool LED lit acrylic engraved and cut lamps, basically, like displays, lights. I don't even know what you call it, signage. I feel like there's so many things that you could do with this technique. I'm really excited for you to dig into it. Good morning to everyone. Carrie, so happy to have you watching live for the first time.
It's basically laser cool stuff. That's what we do, right? Like every week. Laser
Absolutely.
Cool stuff.
We're gonna. I mean, if it is your first time watching, Miguel really tipped the hat. I mean, he's gonna show us some cool stuff this week. But sort of in a nutshell, I think basically what we're gonna do is take 60 minutes every week and sort of challenge our very talented designer Miguel to either come up with a technique that he wants to show us or a product that we want him to make. This week, I guess we're kind of combining the two. We'll even try and take ideas for subjects or different things from the audience whenever we can. But I think this week you've got something kind of cool in particular in mind for us already, at least with the samples. So we're going to see how it rolls out. Maybe we can get Miguel to put together a second version of this for us as the stream goes on. But I think it's going to be really cool, man. I think this is of all the products we've ever shown, I mean, if somebody's going to start a small business making something using their Rayjet, this is the product that I think is actually the coolest personally to me, because I'm really into that super hipster neon aesthetic thing. I don't know, I have I have pictures of neon lights saved to my phone because I'm just I'm an onion. So well, and I know boy bands apparently. Do you know I was still getting smoke about that in the middle of the week? I was getting email from customers being like, I just rewatched the video. I didn't know John liked boy bands. And I was like, oh no.
Oh, you see, we have new people here, and you're already telling them that you like boy bands. So
I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. Well, listen, we better get started then before I talk for too long here and get myself down the hole. Do you want to kind of, I guess as we're kind of kicking into gear here, for anybody who's watching, I'd love if you would say hello in the chat. But then also, you're going to see a little banner scrolling along the bottom of the screen there. There's a bit.ly link in the banner. If you visit the bit.ly link, you can leave us any questions or suggestions that you have for future challenges or future designs, future projects you'd like us to tackle. There was a customer in there who was asking us about potentially looking at a chandelier. So I don't know, maybe we'll try and figure out a small version of that. I think this week's challenge kind of covers a similar illumination style issue.
We would do something like that. We would do something with the Rhino thing that is coming up, right? Eventually. You're going to start making furniture live. So,
dude, I'm so excited for that. Yeah. That is going to be great. And you're going to get to see James from our Friday jam sessions as well. Any more time with James?
10 times cooler than me. 10 times cooler than me. James is a star. No.
James will tell you himself, you guys are equal cool level. You're the yin and yang of cool. What I will say is that we always get so inspired. We have we have the really good fortune, Miguel and I in particular, to get to work with a lot of our very creative customers, especially people like Amy, who commented earlier on, people like the guys at LaserTech Botswana, people like, we had a gentleman we spoke with earlier this week named Randy from a customer. Well, we're going to have a video with Randy coming up soon. I think you guys are going to like to see that, I think. But, we get so inspired in seeing the stuff that you guys come up with. So I'm like extra jazzed today to see where you guys take the technique that Miguel's going to show you and just run with it. Make sure you tag us on Instagram. Make sure you tag us on Twitter, on Facebook, anywhere. We'll be happy to repost you. We're always excited to see that stuff. So
yes.
Without any further ado, I'm going to be cutting in throughout the live stream here with like some of the more, some of the more businessy side of stuff. But I want to let Miguel take it over with the creative side of stuff. Do you want to kind of kick us off, or you want to show us that first design, or what do you want to do?
Yes. So actually, first things first, I would need all of you to give me animals that you would think would be cool for me to make right after this one, because I'm going to do a sample, right, to show you guys how the LED works. And then I'm going to do from scratch a new one. And I need to have at least something visualized in my mind already. Okay. So any animal that you might think is cool, that would be like, I don't know, mating lines that would look pretty cool, just throw it in the chat and I'm going to get one of those and research.
You know what? Really quick before you start, forgive me, because you're going to show us this really cool design that you did, but I also want to quickly share my screen, just a quick tab, because I want to show people exactly, because like since you won't be able to light it up right away, I just want to show sort of exactly what, here, pop over here. The sort of thing we're talking about. So stuff like this. So Miguel has interpreted this in his own style, and I think Miguel's is really, really cool. But I just wanted to get you guys sort of an idea of the level of detail that's potentially possible with this. So when you're thinking about an animal, I want you to think about not only like what animal would look really cool in Miguel's like art style, but then also on top of that, consider that you can do something that's super detailed. You can do something that's super cartoony. You can do something that's just like straight up cartoony. I mean, you can do just about anything in this style. So realistically, I think like, maybe try and think of something that would complement the fact that it's lit up. I don't know if there's like a birds shooting out or something. I don't know. I don't want to get any ideas in anybody's head. I suggested 80s pets and I've never lived it down. So
dude, no, it's okay. Today I'm ready. So shoot me anything. All right,
let's do it.
Okay, so first things first. The animal that I chose before doing this was a man wolf. I don't know if you guys ever saw one. In Portuguese, that's called lobo guará. And it's a wolf / fox that you find normally on the South America side of things. And some types of man wolf you can find in Africa as well. And they're pretty cool because, well, one, they're a fox and a wolf. And they also walk like a deer and have these really long legs, right? So let me show you guys.
Hold on.
Dude,
is it seriously called a man wolf, like M-A-N wolf? Holy cow!
Yes, man as in M-A-N-N-E-D.
I'm gonna throw something at you. That looks like an animal that you photoshopped. That looks like you took the body of one animal and the head of another animal.
Look, there's another picture of a man wolf.
They're so cool. They're weirdly proportioned.
Yes. So I'm doing a project for Trotec that you guys eventually will see, And this is the animal that I chose to do the project with. So this is what I was doing with the blend tool, right? I'll show you guys here. So this is what I did with the line. So it's a very cool wavy effect. Right? And believe it or not, this is really easy to do, but really hard to visualize how you want it to be, right? So let me show you the wireframe. For those who know about Illustrator, wireframe is Control-Y. For those who don't, I would show just basically the stroke lines that I made to create this, right? So Control-Y. This is the wireframe. It looks like a bad kid drawing, right? But
it looks kind of cool. It's got like a cool like stylistic thing to it.
Dude, this is like a kid drawing, just met Basquiat or some shit like that. But anyway, so it looks weird, but the end result is this, right? So how we get from this to this Well, a couple steps, and again, you gotta visualize a little bit. What do you want, right? In this case, I did this base kind of thing. I did the wolf first, but the base was mostly for the LED because this. Let me put my camera back again. Absolutely, it's Photoshop. Wow. Let me put my camera. Put my camera there. Down.
Hello.
I.
Very nice to see everyone. Where do you want to be? You can
I
drag and
don't
drop now.
Dude, I don't know. It's okay. So this is the base, the LED base that we bought, and I don't know how much was that. Like what, $3, $4?
It was only a couple bucks. We got it on Amazon for sake of clarity for everyone. Yeah.
So you have LEDs here, but they're not that strong, right? So depending on how strong it is, you can have a better effect. You know, like basically shooting up or sideways in your LED sign.
Mhm.
In this case, I wanted to cover more ground, so okay, so put the illustrator back there.
There it is.
I wanted to cover more ground at the bottom, so you guys could see like how the light disperses itself from the engraving. So I created this base, right? But even the base is kind of like weird. Anyway, so this is the result before cutting. That's what I made, right? I created a release, so all those weird lines that you see here became those, and then I create an outline to cut with the base for
Miguel,
the what?
this looks really cool, brother.
It's weird. um, yes. So anyway, so this one is what I'm gonna use to cut the acrylic and show you guys how quick. I mean, depending on how many lines you're using, it can be even quicker. But how quick and nice it can look, right? Um, Also, the outline I did by hand using the pencil tool. Actually, everything I use the pencil tool, which is something that I never use here in the stream so far. So it's gonna be pretty cool to talk about.
Wow.
The pencil tool is basically a pencil. Here. You click N.
Whoa. Slow down.
Exactly, and you just like draw weird lines, right? So as you can see, because the color of the lines is like a cyan and with black here. Okay, so you see. Normally I use a pen tool because I have more control over what I want.
Right.
But doing this, I don't need that much control, right? Do you have any questions, Don?
Well, no, it's just so Anne Marie had a great question. She asked about because we're going to be doing an application like this, could we compare sort of the Troglass Clear versus the Troglass LED? So as we sort of noted in the chat, the Troglass LED is specifically, it's not really transparent. So it lights up beautifully, but it has to be specifically lit from behind. Whereas for an application like this, I know that you used a little bit of the clear. So I was curious if you could tell us how you felt like the Troglass Clear worked for the display.
The clear was the best one in terms of result because it's all about the color of the LED, not the color of the acrylic, right?
Okay.
You're just transferring light to the surface. But I don't really know if the LED acrylic works that well. I'm gonna try with the color glass fluorescent. How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Hey, Alberto.
Alberto, so happy you could join us. Hello. Also, Miguel, I hate to give you bad news in the middle of the stream, but I have terrible, terrible news.
What?
This is called the maned wolf. There's only one N because it has that huge mane on it.
Maned.
Maned wolf, yeah.
Yes. What? Why is bad news?
Because you called it the maned wolf for like 8 minutes.
Yes. Maned. I don't know, dude.
Dude, I'm looking at a video of this thing running. It looks berserk. It is absolutely buck wild, this animal.
Canadian geese flying a V.
That might be cool.
That's scary.
Dude, okay. Anyways, I'm sorry. Please continue on. I really want to see how you did this.
Okay. So I'm gonna send this thing here to cut so you guys can check it out how it's gonna look on the LED. What's the name of this thing?
The base or like the stand?
Yeah, the LED stand. So I'm
Cool.
just gonna center the Rayjet, and I'm gonna stop sharing here.
That's such a cool project. So, if I'm understanding correctly, are you telling me that you drew that like illustration with the pencil tool?
Yes,
Wow,
everything
dude.
was made by hand.
Wow.
So, wow.
Dude, no, I'm genuinely impressed. You guys don't even get to see it, but Miguel is a very talented illustrator as well as being like a really good designer.
So, ideally, I would use a 4 mil, but this one is a 3 mil.
Yep.
We have another 2 here that are a little bit bigger, and I'm gonna save that for whatever animal that I decided to do. And so far, only Jason, I hope I'm pronouncing it right,
I think you're right.
gave an animal. So
Yes, please. I mentioned it in the chat, but please submit us any suggestions or ideas for animals you'd like to see, because obviously, like, Miguel has got the chops to make this happen. So now I just want to see what you guys can throw his way. A dinosaur from Anne-Marie. That's right up Miguel's alley, I feel like. This man loves to do a dragon.
well, wasn't Amy sent us the Animal Crossing?
Yeah,
That was pretty cool. By the way, that was pretty cool, Amy. I liked it.
That was really cool. I'm sorry that Amy isn't here this week. I wonder if there's just like some technical snafu, but look, if she's not here this week, we definitely have to have her back next week. Amy is with us most weeks, and she is incredibly talented as well. I just want to show you guys all, because I happen to have it here on the computer. Ooh, take that. An owl. That would also be cool. I feel like we've had a few owl suggestions over some past challenges, and it still is like a really good
I still want to do my owl clock.
Dude, we have to do the clock at some point. The speaker, the pill holder. Hold on. I'm just gonna pull this up while you're cutting. Look at this thing.
Flying springbok. Yes, so eerie how it walks, dude.
So creepy, but cool. It looks like somebody took the head of my like Yorkshire Terrier and then like this is how I feel like my Yorkie thinks he looks. You know what I mean? He's got like the same like big silly ears, but like, oh, this flying springbok is an interesting idea. I'm curious to see what that looks like. Octopus or a shark from Alberta. Octopus or shark is always cool. I love octopus. They can create such cool like structural like weird things, but flying springbok. Do we want to see what that looks like?
Please.
Show them. Let's see. Oh wow, it's like a. If I have it correct, it's like an antelope kind of looking. Here, let me share it with you. So I have to ask you, Miguel, like when you were looking at starting this project, what were some of your like concerns? Like what were the things that you were worried about nailing in terms of like, here, can you see this?
What? It's not a bird.
No, it's like a gazelle. It's like an antelope looking guy. Let me see if I can get more specific with the. I don't want the brand. I want the. Please Google, please. Look at this guy.
That is pretty cool. That is really cool. I like it. I like it.
Really cool animal. And you can do birds and flight around them. If
go back to the previous picture and send that to me. Yeah, copy and send that to me, please.
Yeah, no problem.
And remember to take it out of the stream before you send it to me.
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, I want to use that to show you guys how all this is done. Okay. How long is this gonna take? It's gonna take like 5 minutes to finish.
Do you want to do like the cooking show and show us some of the ones that like maybe you were working on before and just be like, here's one I made earlier, sort of thing, or what are you thinking?
Okay, so this is a sneak peek of what will come in the future. It's not gonna be for the Rayjet stream. It's gonna be for another project that we're doing.
Oh,
so
cool.
This is the Lobo Guarauer man. How do you call it?
Maned wolf. Like a lion's mane kind of thing. Yeah. Holy moly, Miguel, these look so amazing, dude.
Yeah, so like you kind of have to do each side and then
Mirrored
some
it?
details in the ears. And mirror it. So this is what I was doing before, and then I had to do this one for the Rayjet challenge specifically. Okay? But there's some stuff coming up, and why I chose it. Actually, I didn't. It was Lev. I gave him like I don't know 3 or 4 animals, and he thought the Lobo Guara sounded cooler because that's gonna be the name. And he saw the main wolf, and he thought, well, this creature is really really cool. So
It is cool.
let's go with this one.
I have to tell you too, like for everyone who's watching, Miguel threw out some animals that are sort of like native to his native Brazil. There's some cool animals in Brazil. There's some really cool.
Mico-Leão Dourado.
Anne-Marie is asking, so what's the name of the tool you're using in Illustrator to convert the image to this look? So is that you're using the wireframe, or you're using?
I'm not converting anything. This has to be done by hand, basically. And I will show you guys how to do it, but I don't have enough time to go that in depth. But again, there's a Illustrator course, really detailed, every single like tool that you can imagine to create anything laser related coming up for you guys. Maybe the end of September to the beginning of October. So
Man, Miguel's been working really, really hard, and I think you guys are really going to like it. We'll give you more information as it gets closer, but I think you guys are going to be really pleased.
Yep. So see how this looking is almost finished. So let me wait for this to be done before I start doing anything.
Real quick before you get started, then let me toss. I'm going to switch the banner here at the bottom of the show. I didn't mention it at the top of the hour, but this is a new thing that we're doing just because we'd love to get an idea of who it is that's watching the Rayjet Challenge and how we can sort of better serve you. So unfortunately, it's only in Canada and only one per customer, like it says. But if you visit the little bit.ly link there at the end of the banner, you'll get $25 in free consumables from our web store. And you just have to fill out a little form that lets us know, like, do you already have a laser? What would you like to see going forward from us? What type of stuff do you like to do? That sort of thing. So we'd really appreciate if you could figure that out or fill that out, pardon me. And we're happy to send you some consumables to test in your laser if you're willing. So thank you. That's my skill.
Sorry, guys, but
I have a quick question here for you that I got during the week. If you want a quick question to answer. Let me see here. Let me pull it up. I even put it in a banner for you. Here we go. Where did it go? Oh, I'm sorry we missed you, Amy. Next week, 100%. We'll do a double dose of Amy. We will make it up to you. Absolutely. That's probably our fault on the back end that you didn't get the email, but we're really looking forward to having Amy back. Amy is so talented. And if you're a designer out there who watches the stream, I mean, definitely, drop us an email, youtube@troteclaser.ca, or send us a suggestion to the bit.ly link. And, we'd love to have more customers on in the future. Let me see here. Now, where did that question go? Oh, I don't know where it went. Well, anyways, it was about why was it that you chose to start working with Illustrator as opposed to working with Corel? Like, why was it? Because you were talking about the Illustrator course, and I know that you've been like a fan of Illustrator for a long time. So what is it that keeps you like using Illustrator over Corel? Is there anything outside of just like familiarity with it, or is it because obviously they both work just fine with the Trotec, but what makes Miguel an Illustrator guy?
At the beginning was familiarity, but I think the ceiling on Illustrator is way higher than a Corel, right? So when you get to like an expert level, there's a lot more stuff that you can do on Illustrator, especially if you have a good workflow, right? So something that it takes me 30 minutes to do in Illustrator takes me 3 hours to do in CorelDRAW. So that's basically it, right? And for instance, I don't even know if they have a blend tool on Corel. I don't even know if what I'm gonna do here is possible to be done in CorelDRAW. And I didn't even look for it. So which is one of the reasons why I'm also like sad that Emmy is not here, because if somebody was gonna figure it out, it was gonna be her, right? But
that's very, very true. Amy is like she's our advocate for CorelDRAW. But even Amy, I think, was talking about her workflow is typically I think she's hand illustrating most things on her iPad and then importing them into Corel. I think both Miguel and I kind of come from an Illustrator background more than anything. Oh man, that looks great. Hold on, I'm going to blow that up really big. Yeah, see, that looks so great. And of course, like we said in the beginning, you could do this in any style, like whatever artistic style you want to do will still work for this project. Yep. This is the version that Miguel did, and I think it blends like super nicely. Oh, he's drifting away. It blends super nicely with the sort of underlit aesthetic, like the sort of grid lines and all that stuff looks so cool with the LEDs. But yeah, no, because Miguel and I both come from sort of an Illustrator, more predominant background. You know, I feel like sometimes maybe we underserve Corel a little bit. But I mean, definitely, you know, don't ever hesitate. If you're an Inkscape person, if you're a Corel person, if you're an Illustrator person, they all work equally well with the laser. And also, you're in a position where, you know, going forward here, we're going to be doing that much more in the way of streaming. We're hoping to add like a Rhino or a 3D stream. Oh my God, that's so cool. Hold on, that's got to happen. Well, I don't want to get copyright strike, but you know.
Yes, still.
Yeah.
Or demonetize, like. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So, like, a little tap and change colors. Green is my favorite color, so there we go.
So cool. That's fantastic, Miguel. That's really great, man.
All right, so like I said, this part here is way more lit up than the head, right? But this is basically because some very thin lines and there's a lot of dispersion and the LEDs is not that strong. Right? But as you can see, sometimes changing the colors varies the strength of how the light travels, right? Actually, let me try something here because see if you guys can see better. Is it better?
Yeah, that's even a little brighter.
Yeah.
Getting some comments about how great it looks, Miguel. There is also a comment from Anne-Marie who mentions, is that the 4mm? So because of COVID right now, it's a little bit tough to get clear acrylics. So Miguel is using the 3mm, but ideally you'd like to use the 4.
Yeah, there's also that because like the quality is okay. Changing my camera.
To your camera or?
Yeah, it's my laptop camera. So I can show you guys because the quality of the camera is kind of iffy. So yeah.
That's really great, man. That's really nice. You did a great job.
So yeah, 4mm will have just a little bit more surface to get light from, and it will be better in general. Okay?
Well, when we're doing some testing right now, I have to say to not to sort of tip our hand, but like Miguel was mentioning, we're doing a similar sort of project in the back end for ourselves, and we're experimenting with some of the techniques that we've been learning about to sort of make sure that the light is disseminated equally across the entire thing. So if we can get that figured out, obviously we'll pass that information along to you guys so you can use it yourselves.
Yep. Okay, so what is the name of this thing, dude? It's so weird.
It's called the
Flying Springbok.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
I was going to say Maybach, but I think that's a car.
Okay, so first things first. What does the pencil tool makes? Just lines, right? Just cool lines and smooth a little bit after you create one.
Okay.
Even if it's a bad line, you will like smooth itself. I'm gonna show you guys. So see, real smooth. And why we're using this? Because one is easier to draw, and because we need to create like some specific shapes, right? Most of them in U shapes. U, so U letter,
yeah, like rounded. Yeah, like
open and rounded. All right. So something like this, it would be 2 U shapes. So blend 2 is here. You go to Object, Blend, and Make. So disappear one line here, all right? But then you go to Blend Options, Specified Steps, 20, and ta-da!
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and you can still edit the vector, so you can move, create some cool looking shapes. Go back to the wireframe and like drag it down. So
can you only like? So are you able to? Oh wow. Okay. Cool. So are you able to move each individual line, or just like the overall outer shape that then creates the pattern?
No. So
Gotcha.
after you get what you want, you can go back to object, blend, and expand. So now it became an individual line, each one of those, right? You can move them individually.
Wow, that's great.
So, and then if you want to engrave, you go to object, expand, fill, spin stroke, everything will become just a vector, right? That you can scale as much as you want without changing the stroke weight or anything like that. That is the fast lane to blend to, right? How
will blend tool be a part of your course that's going to be coming up later in the
one of those parts? Yeah. So I'm gonna use cyan because, well, it's a very bright color compared to the background here, and I'm gonna show you something. So let's say the eyes, right? So the eyes of this flying springbok is kind of round, and I don't know, kind of goes down like this, or I would do. Control-C. Let me, and this is just mount.
Classic Miguel mood board.
Yes. So, come on, dude. Oh, another thing. If you're doing something like this, make sure that you lock. Let me take out the board. Control-2. You lock both like images, right? So you can
select your line work and not like accidentally move the image around.
Exactly.
I see. Okay.
If I try to make blend here, try to blend those two shapes together, they're gonna look weird, and I'm gonna show you why. Blend options, specified steps, or they may not, but I think they will. See, that's why. They'll try to blend this line here with this line.
Oh, I see.
See, so you have to understand those things, like how do you want your thing to look? Because let's say we mirror this, transform, reflect. Like it might look what we want, it might not, you know. But in this case, I would throw another line somewhere in this thing to make it better. Okay?
Are you most often using this with like a mirror reflection, or do you kind of have to draw the full? I guess you'll show, but
that depends on what we're doing.
The shape is. Gotcha. Okay.
That we're doing. So yeah, this is gonna take a lot of tweak to get what you want, like a lot. Okay. So anyway, I'm not gonna even do this. I'm gonna do something else. So for the antelope or whatever face, I'm gonna do something like this, right?
Oh, so it's called a springbok. Apparently, bok is the Afrikaans word for buck or antelope, and it bounces or springs really high in the air. So like a flying springbok is like a colloquial name. Dude, are we hosting like an educational show? It's pretty cool. Today I'm learning about Brazil. I'm learning about springboks.
Never heard springbok before in my life, for sure.
No, me neither. I'll be honest with you. I didn't realize there were so many different kinds of like antelope. Like when I was a kid, I just thought there was just antelopes. I didn't realize there was like 20 different kinds of antelopes.
Yeah, in this case, your eye just created like an eye like this, because I thought it looks cooler than trying to draw it with everything else that I'm gonna do. You know? So,
are you drawing with the mouse?
Yes. Wow. By the way, this would be way easier if you're using like a tablet or something like that.
I was gonna say, this is pretty impressive. Trying to draw with a mouse, if you've never tried before, is not easy.
Yeah, I cannot join this too.
So are you worried about each geometry being closed, like you would with like a pen tool, or?
They kind of have to complement themselves. So you see, I'm trying to keep everything in a U shape, like I said before, right?
Okay.
So for instance, if I try to blend those two, be weird, right? Like I want to make the whole face one shape. So this one I go over, this one I go over, right? This one I may go like this, and
So I feel like even if you could get this the head, like the Springboks head, I'd be pretty impressed.
if you what? Sorry.
Well, if you could even just do his head, because like this looks incredibly difficult.
So again, well, see, we
Holy
have
moly.
lines here that are not.
This is a cursed image.
Yeah.
It's scary.
So blend options. I'm doing 8 steps, but if I do 20, it might look a little bit better.
Oh wow, dude, this is a
But
really cool tool.
this thing here is messing up the lines a little bit. There's something else also being connected that shouldn't. This one is connecting to this one. And so I believe that like I have to create something in the middle here.
Okay.
But I think the top part of the antelope, the flying springbok head, is good, and
I
the
agree.
bottom part is good as well, like decent at least. So I can change a little bit here.
It's like a series of small tweaks, right? Until you get exactly the shape you want.
Yes, and I'm not even going for perfection. I mean, I'm just trying to get this in time. It's the challenge, right?
For sure. But
Okay,
I thought,
so okay, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, like, I thought you showed a really good technique, which is like, also don't be afraid to use like mirroring. Like if you're doing something that is close to symmetrical, like if you wanted to have that his left R right side eye, you could just mirror the one that you've already made on the left. That's excellent. And then, you know, if you want to make some slight tweaks to it, oh, dude, see, now you make me look like smarter than I am.
Just
Yeah, see, that looks great. This looks like Tron deer.
So what you can do here is like you select both eyes, for instance. So you can group them, select everything else, deselect the eyes. Come on, make me look like a fool now. Go to blend and you go to release. So it will release the blending, and you can go back to creating another line, which hopefully will save this whole thing. Okay? Hopefully.
Already looks pretty great, dude. I mean, I'll level with you. You were telling me a little bit about the sort of technique you were going to show, but I didn't get to see you creating the sample during the week. When you showed the grid lines of the wolf, I thought you'd drawn each one of these by hand using the mouse, and I was like, holy moly.
It's too big.
I feel like I can think of a lot of different like uses you could have for this technique because it's such a unique like look. I feel like this sort of grid style could be applied to a lot of different things. And so am I seeing correctly, like when you're doing the blending and stuff, like you're choosing the amount of like, to sort of say it like in a really basic, like the number of sort of like iterations of the sort of pattern that it's building in between the two like outer lines?
Basically, that's what I'm gonna try to do here. I just make, okay, this is too open. So this one goes here. This one goes here. See what happens. This is all about that. Like for more detailed parts, like the face, it's all about like let's see what happens. Yeah.
When you're basically sculpting values.
Yes.
Like it's pretty like that stuff to do regardless, let alone with a mouse and a seemingly like, you know, tricky tool to work with an Illustrator.
So for instance, this line here for some reason is being blended with the line that I don't want. So you have to tweak until you can find like a middle point where you're satisfied with the result, which I am getting there.
I think it looks great, man. It looks like a Springbok made out of slinkies.
I have Springbok that what?
Made out of slinkies.
Slinkies.
Do you know what a slinky is?
No.
Slinky, you must know what a slinky is. Lexine, do you know what a slinky is?
Oh yeah.
It's just a spring that can like go down the stairs.
She showed me now with her hands. Like,
You know a slinky. I'm sure you do. Everyone loves a slinky. Yeah, anyhow. They're basically like the best toy until they're the worst toy. They're like really, really cool briefly, and then they're not cool anymore. See, this is cool. I get to learn, like, getting to work with Miguel, you guys, is such a, like,
I don't know anything.
no, it's the stuff that, like, you are able to expose me to stuff that I would have no possible chance of ever having, like, learned about. And then I can bring you important, like, North American cultural info, like the slinky. It's culturally significant, or the flying slink, as it's technically referred to.
Mm. Look, this is just me, but I'm not liking the result.
Okay.
That's me being like me, basically. So I'm just gonna delete this. I like how the face is looking, but it's kind of empty in the middle. So I'm gonna try and do something like this and see if it works or not.
I like how the face is looking, but it's kind of empty in the middle.
Yep.
I think I've had girlfriends describe me that way.
Don't.
So let me ask you, I think like the fact that there's a little bit less detail in the center of the head probably might matter less once you get some more of the detail of the ears and the horns in place, or are you worried about like,
So,
I mean,
okay. There we go. Let's see the ear. It's pretty good.
that's pretty good.
Okay. It gets easier as soon as you leave the face. Everything that has a lot of details, it's kind of hard to deal with.
Faces are like hands and feet and stuff, right? They're just like notoriously difficult to draw. You're brave though. You're not gonna like Rob Liefeld it. You're gonna actually like show. You're not gonna like conveniently hide the feet behind a box or something. You're gonna.
What do you mean?
Never heard of Rob Liefeld? He's like a '90s illustrator that stinks.
Oh, it doesn't stink, dude. Stop. Give us Deadpool.
No. I know. That's just like that's the cliche is that he stinks. He's actually like, look, he's a greater illustrator than I would have ever hope of ever becoming. But he got that reputation unfairly.
So what are you lining up to this thing here?
Thank you for the suggestion, by the way, Chad. I really, really appreciate it. I think this is such a cool animal. I'm curious if anyone agrees with me that even just like the pencil tool squiggles, like when you cut back to this view, I still think this looks cool as well. Like, I think this looks awesome. That's just me, though. Just a quick reminder to everyone, too, that in 2 weeks from today, I don't know if it's been sort of officially announced or approved yet, but I'm going to really push for it. 2 weeks from today is a very special day. I'm not going to say what it is just yet, but I think I've probably said it already before. And I'm going to try and convince the producers to let me run the laser for 1 week, just as a reminder to all of you, and as a reminder to me for all of the very talented designers working along with Miguel at home during a 1 hour challenge, A, how incredibly hard this is, and B, how incredibly talented Miguel is. Because realistically, like, in the 1 week where Miguel gets to sit in my seat, I think it's going to be a challenge for me to get him back on the designer side. Like, this guy's going to come over here and see how sweet a deal I have when I get to just watch him make something.
Dude, I'm all for it, but I think that stream's going to be painful for all of us. Me hosting, dude.
Not even just I think you'll be great as a host. It's going to be more trying to watch me use Illustrator. Like, you're going to be banging your head off the table. like every time Miguel watches me use Illustrator, it's like watching someone like try and open a bag of like chips with a knife or something. He's just like, ooh, like, please, don't, ooh, would you just, please just give it here. Please be careful.
All right, look at that.
That's great, man. That looks so cool.
Look at that.
That's really well done.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that's great.
Now for the body, and the body's the easiest part, honestly.
You say that now, but there's a lot of values in that body. I suppose, though, like, you could do a cool version of this where, because you had sort of fewer, forgive me, I keep forgetting the word that Illustrator uses in the blend tool, like the iterations, the versions, or the number of lines in between two things. What's the word it's using? I'm not explaining it very well. Like when you create a new blend tool thing, and it says, like, do you want 20 lines, or do you want 8 lines, or do you want like this? What is this?
What?
How many? When you use the tool, when you're using the blend tool,
okay,
what is the term it's using to determine how many lines go in between?
Make? I don't know. What are you talking about?
Okay, hold on. Wait for the next time you use the blend tool, and I want you to go slowly, and I will stop you.
Okay, object, blend. Blend options?
Yep.
Oh, specified steps?
Steps, that's what it is. Yeah, it's steps. That's the number of things in between, right? That's the number of things in the pattern. Yep. I wonder if you could do like a cool version of this where like certain parts of the animal, I don't want you to necessarily do this. It's just, it occurs to me that like certain parts of the animal would be really highly detailed using a lot of steps. And then as you got to like the edges, you could reduce the number of steps. So it's sort of like faded out a little bit, or
this is exactly how it works.
Such cool stuff you can do with this technique. Have you ever seen it used for anything else?
Yes, of course. Logos, especially.
Right.
Plenty of detailed stuff that you see out there that you think it was made at 3D can be made here. And especially if you're tracing. It's just a matter of understanding the tool much more than,
Well, you don't get to play around with it that often, but I mean, like, you're still putting on a pretty good clinic here. I'm pretty impressed.
I don't play around with it often because there's very few uses besides engraving, I would say. Like, you cannot cut with this, right?
Yeah.
And here in the Rayjet, the Rayjet Challenge, we try to do as much like creative stuff as we can. So
you got about, just under probably like 25 minutes left-ish, I'd say.
Let's be done before that. But yeah, there's a lot of tweaking that you guys have to do if you want to do something cool with this.
Agreed. But I mean, realistically, like, it feels like this is the sort of tool that once you got your hands on, like once you'd been using it for a while, you would sort of get, be able to sort of wrap your mind around the way that it sort of sculpts. You know what I mean? Like, it would probably become easier and easier the more you used it, sort of thing. Maybe I'll take a quick second here. I'll see if I can, just while you're working, so that you can just focus on that for a second. I will pop over to, my mouse isn't working. What an interesting development that is. Okay. Let's go over to here, and let's do a quick search. I'm going to mute my mic so it doesn't do that. Okay, here we are. I heard you whispering. Let's see.
The producer.
Let's see. So I wanted to show this to you guys because this is part of the reason that I thought, I mean, I was saying at the beginning of the stream that this is probably one of my coolest, or what I thought was some of the coolest applications we'd done with this, or on the stream, I should say. The reason for that is partially the variability. So you can really use this technique for a lot of different things. I mean, like this one here is ham radio license apparently, whereas this one over here is like a cool. I mean, this illuminated Autobot. I mean, all the way down to like incredibly detailed stuff like this motorcycle. And then the other side of it is that if you look at the prices that people are charging for these, I mean, they tend to be sort of in the mid to low 60s, all the way up to, over $100, depending on the size. And obviously I'm not, speaking specifically to any of these creators. I'm sure like all of these are priced according to the value, certainly. But I think at the same time, what I want you to consider is, I'll show you, the materials that Miguel is using, because it's the Rayjet, he's using basically like a 1/8 sheet or like a 1/4 sheet. But the actual value of the acrylic, when you break down the entire sheet down to just a little piece that he's using, is about $2 to $3. If he can make one of these in, let's say, 5 minutes of time on the actual laser itself, obviously the design time is separate, but I leave that to you because it's so variable depending on the design you want to do. But in terms of just hard costs, in terms of like 5 minutes for engraving and cutting, and the materials, you're talking about a total cost of somewhere between about $5 to maybe $10. And I priced the selling price that you could make for this at $50, and that was on the low end for most of the ones we saw on Etsy. But you're talking about a profit of like $40 to $45 on each one of these. And since the Rayjet's available for $300 a month, roughly in Canada specifically, if you were to sell each of those for $50, you could technically break even in a month. I mean, the Rayjet would pay for itself in less than an hour of work. So I thought that was so cool because clearly, I mean, these stores that are on Etsy have enough demand. They show a lot of sales and things like that. It's like a really cool technique and a really cool finished product, but it's also, I mean, there's clearly like money to be made. It is viable for a small business. So I think it's like a really cool mix of a lot of different things. I'm interested to see how your Springbok is coming along. This looks great, man. I can't get over that maned wolf. That's gonna haunt me in my dreams. I mean, he's really cool, but kind of spooky. I think I've had people say that about me too.
Sorry?
I think I've had people say that about me too.
You are the spookiest dude.
For anybody who's For anybody who's just joining us, thank you for watching the 1 hour Rayjet Design Challenge. Just to let you know, so this week, Miguel is putting together sort of an edge-lit LED sign. He's using a really cool technique in Illustrator. I mean, he's using a combination of the pencil tool and the blend tool. You're going to see him continue to sort of flip between basically the sort of blend tool wireframe kind of looking this guy here in cyan, and then also just his pencil tool marks in the other. He's using it, as you'll see coming up, once this comes out of the laser, to create a really cool edge-lit LED sign. It's something that we not only wanted to show you here in the stream because it's a really great product and technique, but then also we're doing a project using this on the side, trying to figure out the best way to sort of disperse the light along the back of a sign like this. And so, once we figure that out, we're going to pass that along to you guys as well. But we're really happy to have you watching. Saludos to Eric. Thanks so much for watching. How is it in Argentina today? Uh-oh. I think he says that his English isn't very good, but que mi inglés no es muy bueno. Okay. Neither is my Spanish.
I think that's it.
That looks great, man. So I'm interested to see how you combine this with the stand. Ooh. No of these.
There we go. Have our flying Springbok, whatever thingy. It's such a weird name. But anyway, so yes, there we go. And well, if you use techniques that I showed you guys, you can do anything with this, and it's gonna look pretty cool. Huh?
mean, this
Now
definitely looks good.
you gotta have some patience. You gotta tweak until you can find something decent, But it's side by side here. It's a good representation, I would say. Not perfect, but well, what is, right?
Looks pretty great, man. I have to say, I'm impressed. I have to ask you though.
Yeah.
How are you gonna? I think I know how you'll do it, but so how are you gonna combine this into the actual, piece, like the stand? And then also, was there anything, when you were first doing the sort of the stand for the first time, was there anything you came across that was tricky, like having to measure so that it'll fit inside your base, or having to do any of the, is there any like tips or tricks you could throw out that?
4 mil, at least for this base, is perfect when it comes
Okay.
to thickness. If I'm not mistaken, it is 3.117 inches, and
The base?
the width of the base, so you can slot it in, right? But you can go even like thicker, so you can find the right curve for that. I don't really know what is the perfect curve for the LED base, but I think it would be better like so it doesn't fall or wiggle around or anything like that, right?
Yeah, you really got to like take into account you got to measure it in advance to make sure you're like, gonna fit it perfectly, kind of thing.
So now that I finished my stuff, I go to Object, Blend, and so now everything is like it's on stroke, and I go to Spend, Fuse Stroke. There we go.
That's a great question, Doug. I'll just say we mentioned it earlier on, and I wanted to say it again. We just got this base off of Amazon for, I think it was like a couple dollars, like $4-5, something like that. You can find them all across the internet. I think, if you were going to resell this to somebody, obviously I didn't include the cost of the base in the pricing. So, that's entirely up to you. But again, like Miguel was talking about in the beginning, the sort of power of the illumination and stuff that you're going to get is dependent on the base that you choose and stuff like that. So, that's completely up to you how you want to light the sign that you make.
So I'm going to make this sweet animal. Okay, so let me get my stuff here.
Okay.
I actually have a 4 mil, so.
Well, you do have some 4 mil.
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Piece of
Excellent.
it. It's 10 inches wide, 11 inches wide by 13 and a half, right? So this is the area that I can work with. So I'm gonna do 9 inches wide.
Okay.
9 by 9.5. That's cool. I need a base of 3 by half an inch. So 0.5. It's a little smaller than that. 0.46. This is my base, right?
Okay.
I hope I'm doing this correct, but anyway.
Me too.
We do.
Me too. I think you're going to be fine, man. That's one thing I've really learned in doing these streams with you now for a few months, is that I can basically always trust Miguel's math. Your math is very
Oh yeah.
stuff. Just figuring out the curve, like no problem, by yourself, easy peasy.
That's why I'm an engineer. Look, so one of the problems that you might see here is or with anything that you're doing, is that, as you can see, this is where the LED is going to hit, right? This is the thickness of the base, and the thickness of the engraving is way like wider than the LEDs. So the dispersion of the light will be like really weak.
Okay.
Right? So what I would do, just to fool around, is some stuff like this.
Hey, no worries, Doug. I'm just so glad you could be here. I'm glad everyone who's watching could join us today. Definitely, If you're just popping in, say hello in the chat. We always love to hear from you. If you have any questions, we'd be very excited to answer them for you. Oh, it's cool.
Wind, expand, make it even smaller. So.
I feel like you could do such cool abstract, it really does have that 3D animation sort of look.
It's really, really nice. So now I'm gonna trace around the animal, so you can do some cool stuff with it. Yeah, drawing with a mouse is.
Ooh. When the Springboks, who are currently World Rugby champions, visit your shores, this will make a great memento to market. That is very true and very smart. Wow, that's so cool. That's a great point.
I didn't hear that. What?
Oh yeah, it's still up. Okay, so when the Springboks, who are currently World Rugby champions, visit your shores, this will make a great memento to market. So the Springboks, I don't know that much about rugby, but I'm going to take your word for it that the team named the Springboks is currently World Rugby champions. And if that's true, this would make a very cool memento. And one that you can make at home. Anybody who's watching this stream, I know, is more than creative enough to put together a really cool monument just like this one. And keep in mind, too, that this is the sort of thing that, if you had somebody send you a photo that you wanted, they wanted to vectorize and turn into a stand, that would be a really cool way to do a personalized version of this and make a really cool gift, I think.
10x9.
Don't worry, everyone. You can always trust Miguel's math. That's what I've learned.
Guys,
except for me.
He's joking, dude.
No, I'm not joking. I'm not. This is not BM. I'm telling you right now. You can absolutely trust Miguel Mathado.
My what? Sorry?
Mathado.
Do you want to end the stream right now?
Mathado.
Are you sure?
Never. Like I told you, I try and bring a chaotic good energy to the stream. So were you gonna? So I'm curious.
Glycine called me my shadow. Look at that. That's way cooler.
Dude, it's your rap name.
My rap name. Okay, let's see. Okay, so 11 by 13.5. So height 9.5 by 10.
Did we lose the laser cam?
Gonna make it a little bit smaller. What?
Did we lose laser cam? I think we did. Laser cam is no more. That's all right. I'll describe to you. Yeah, she's toast. That's all right. I'll describe to you guys what's happening. There's a laser. Now it's moving. It's approaching the material.
See, that's why I won't be able to host. I cannot do that.
What do you mean? Describe in my audible book reading voice?
Exactly.
Miguel.
I mean, nobody can even come close to your voice, but that's.
You saw the Springbok at a distance.
It is unfair, right? Because that is genetics.
That's true. It is genetics. I can make my voice silly. I could do a Yoda voice if that if that helps.
John won the genetic lottery for voices.
Everybody gets one. That was actually what I did that test in high school. The one that tells you what you're you should be when you grow up. It told me I should be voiceover for animation, and I thought, you know what, test? You haven't heard my voice, so that seems like a very presumptive thing for you to say. But
they're usually right.
I mean, did yours tell you should be an illustrator or a designer?
No.
Yours is probably mathematician. Yours is probably you should be president of Brazil.
It was something either a fireman or a politician or some shit like that. I don't remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, you could do both at once.
Okay.
It'd be like a night job.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can.
All right. So, we good? We're good.
Yeah, we can.
Good. We're good.
Go.
I'm scared. Let's go.
I'm scared. I think it's going to turn out great, man. I'm excited.
Let's just change a little bit here. The power.
I just saw Lev walk by.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Gone. And it started. Oh my God, it's going to take 20 minutes. This one is really detailed.
Well, it's okay. That'll take us right to the end of the stream. Perfect timing. That'll take us right to the end of the stream. That's perfect timing.
Did it start? Actually, the camera's not picking up.
But here, tell you what. Let me see if I can. Zoom it in a little bit as well, so you can see some of the detail
there.
Here. Bam. Oh, that's a fuzzy. That's a fuzzy fuzz. I'm gonna take that out of there. I want you guys to see the fuzzy fuzz. Hello again, viewers. It's me, your laser friend. Don's Laser ASMR. ASMR. We'll workshop that. Just reminding you that if you visit the bit.ly link in the little banner that's scrolling along the bottom of it here, let's make this more personal. Hi. If you visit the bit.ly link that's scrolling along the bottom of the stream, it's only one per customer, I'm afraid, and only in Canada, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But if you visit the bit.ly link, you can get $25 in free consumables, just for filling out a little bit of personal information about whether you have a laser, where you're watching from, the type of materials you like to work with, that kind of thing. It's pretty short, but we just want to get an idea of who it was that's watching the stream. We want to try and tailor the future content so it's not just silliness that we come up with, but we want to make sure that it's relevant to you guys. So, we need to know who's watching in order that we can make it as good as it possibly can be. So, we already got a new producer, and that's a big improvement.
You should say that, dude. It's being recorded.
I'm dropping smoke. So I'm spilling the tea. Spilling the tea, friends.
Yes.
All out on the table.
You have a big mouth, Don. Just shut the fuck up.
I know. Listen, if it makes you laugh, it's worth it.
Why is it getting out of focus? Anyway, sorry guys about that, but this is gonna be a long engraving because
we'll see what
really
do you want to show some more cool stuff while we're waiting? Do you want to do some more Illustrator stuff? We could go over some questions. What would you like to do?
It's 20 minutes. Do we have that time?
What, to do another design in Illustrator, or to go over some questions?
Yeah, we can go over some questions if you guys want.
Absolutely, man. Let's do it.
It's stressful enough that I have to be doing that live.
What, to engrave stuff live?
No, the blend tool. It's a really finicky tool that you have to,
You actually, I feel like you really nailed it, man. This, hold on, I can't see your screen. Boop. There it is. I feel like you really smashed it, man. This looks so great. It really does give that impression of 3D animation almost.
And it's smoke and mirrors too.
True. Is there a reason you decided to do that sort of abstract base at the bottom, or just to ground the image so it's not just a springbok floating in midair sort of thing?
Yeah, to give a base, and also so that the light works better. As we saw with the Lobo-Guara, or maned wolf, as you guys call it. I prefer Lobo-Guara, but sure.
I think it sounds cooler when you say it. I'm not gonna try and say Lobo-Guara.
Yeah, you cannot even say my last name, so.
Mathado?
Yeah, Mathado.
Let me see here. So I have some questions. Let me see. And please, anybody in the chat, we would very much love to answer your questions. I'm going to pull up some of the ones that I have here saved in the background. I cheated. I've got these ready to go. I want to find one that I haven't gotten you to answer before. This is one I might have gotten you to answer this, Miguel, but I was wondering if you could touch on it again, because I actually had a customer contact me about this just on Monday. So it's Randy from Burlington who asks about using a rotary. So when using a rotary, you have an hourglass-shaped object to engrave. Do you measure the widest radius of the object even if you aren't engraving in that spot, or do you only measure the radius of the area exactly where you're engraving?
I try to find an average spot, so I can average both sides. And
Average both sides. Okay.
yeah, so depends on the depth of the hourglass. If it's something that doesn't have a lot of depth, it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter that much, because a 2 inches lens or 2.5 inches lens has enough leeway to work with some depths, going out of focus
Yeah.
without a problem. But if you're using like a 1.5 inches lens or something like in a Rayjet, for instance, I know that Randy is using a 400, but if you're using a Rayjet, for instance, it would be better for you to try to average the depth,
Across the
or
entire piece.
yes. But it's hard. It is hard to do something like that. That we will have a great quality.
I have another question here from user Natalie in Quebec. Let me just post it in here. This is one that you've sort of showed, I think, in a previous video, but they're asking about specific. Sorry, it's a character limit, but I can read the rest. So they're asking about interlocking grids. Let's say I need to make a huge grid of small squares, 1 to 2 millimeters size of width, like 1 inch by 1 inch square, but the border is 1 to 2 millimeters, and I can create a 4 by 4 inch grid that could be clipped. So if you need to create a giant grid of squares that were all the same size, any tip on maybe a way that you could do that? She's asking if she could. So the end of the question says, I could create a 4 by 4 grid that could then be clipped with other 4 by 4 grids, that I could have an infinite grid when assembled. So how would you create sort of even a very simple pattern of that style?
We have a video on the YouTube channel, like Mike Clark doing the Lemocoids business cards, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he creates a grid like that, so it can be cut like more efficiently. I think that is the best video that you can go in. It is in Corel. I don't know if you're using Illustrator or Corel Draw, but there's also that, because in Illustrator you can create an actual grid and put the size of each square and do all this like cool stuff. But in Corel, I actually don't know how to do that. Not using a grid tool, for instance. But if you're doing manually, both do the same way. Sorry, man, I cannot pronounce your name. Sathi, I don't know. Yes, the files will be available for download. Lev is preparing to create a Google Drive folder with all the files from all the design challenges, so you guys can go there and pick it up and use it.
Yes, we really want this stuff to be available for you guys.
However,
mm-hmm.
I want to see you guys doing it.
Yes.
Like, make your own. Like, tag us on Instagram.
Absolutely.
We're gonna promote you guys. Like, put it there. We're gonna put it in our own page, which is really, really cool.
Not to mention, I always say this every week, but I have to mention it. It's so inspiring to see the stuff that you guys do based on the projects that like Miguel or I or someone here will suggest. Getting to see, I mean, look, the whole reason that we eventually got to work with Amy is because she posted such great versions of the pieces that we did to her Instagram. Yep. Mischief Pop, by the way. So, it's something that really, we're checking constantly. We love to repost our customers' work, particularly for Miguel and I, when we see you guys working on a version, and don't feel obliged to do it in 1 hour by any means. But when you're working on a version of the products that we've done here, that's really, really cool. It's really inspiring for us.
I'm trying to find the hexagonal things that Tim was making here before COVID. One of the students. Remember?
Right.
Him?
Yes, absolutely. I remember Tim. Tim was such a good guy.
Yeah, NAFBO Games saying that it's for a board game. Yeah, I know. And it's not that hard. He made like a grid, and he made like a little, like some holes in the middle of it, so he could put it's not characters, but acrylic characters on top of it, and like slot it in, or tiles, different tiles. So different colors. One would like basically represent the forest, another one the mountain, another one like lava or something like that. So like red acrylic, green acrylic, black acrylic, and they all slot in whatever he made. I don't know if that's what you were talking about, but unfortunately I cannot find it. There's a pile of stuff for his.
I'll see if I can track it down. I've got another question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's a bunch of them here. I like this one really quickly, though, and you'll see why. It sort of leads into something we were talking about earlier, but just in case anybody missed, the start of the stream. Sorry, that was so loud. I have a question from Brett in Weyburn. Brett from Lake Echo in Nova Scotia, who asked about the best online resources for learning Illustrator. So, how did you come up learning Illustrator? And then also, can you tell us a little bit about maybe a little, don't no spoilers, but like maybe some things about what might be coming up?
Again, not self-promotion, but yes, we're going to do an Illustrator course, especially focused on lasers, techniques that we're going to use on lasers and you might use on lasers if you want to up your creativity and know how to make your workflow better, everything faster, things that for now might take you 2 hours to make will take 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do that on Udemy. Udemy has another course, but I'll tell you what, our YouTube channel with the free content that we have is pretty good.
Yes.
About Illustrator per se, I would say Skillshare, which is another place that we're trying to get in and do classes there, more advanced and specific classes for lasers too. But for Illustrator, there is a guy called Dan Scott. He's from Adobe. He's probably one of the biggest Adobe instructors out there. And he's really good for anybody that wants to learn the basics and the intermediate steps of Adobe Illustrator. And that's basically it. I mean, if we're talking about just Illustrator as a tool, he's the one if you want to go from zero to hero. Yeah.
Ceylon mentions Ceylon is good enough. Just starting out, all I do with my Speedy 300 CO2 are basic stamps right now. Still lots to learn, but getting hungrier the more I see of your presentations. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I have a question here for you, Miguel, from Sergio in Portugal.
Transfer that in Portuguese?
I mean, if you want to, I won't be able to hold you accountable. Best settings to cut paper without burn marks or to get the minimum of burn marks.
As fast as you can, as low power as you can. There's no set setting for that. You have to try, but as fast as you can. Actually, paper is not that hard to cut without burning. I thought it was, but Mylar is 10 times trickier, dude. Oh
Mylar
my god,
was tricky. You were really working hard to get that to work. I was so impressed.
Mylar is a tricky beast, but paper is really easy, to do that. Actually, I would say any type of material that burns itself, it's easier than melting to deal with, to find the right setting. So wood, paper is made of wood. What else? Please help me. Just
to easily cut.
Yes, because when I think about plastics melt all the time. Right?
Plastics melt all the time. I think, like you said, acrylics. Wood actually is tricky if you don't really know what you're doing. Because wood, we have some great videos on how to avoid burning, but a question about, how to avoid burning wood is something we get a lot.
I would rather deal with burning than melting.
This is true. And stickiness after the cutting. Ugh. Question from Saudi Arabia. What is the difference between the aluminum grid and the honeycomb table, and which would you recommend for cutting wood?
The aluminum flat bed? Yeah. The flat bed is a flat bed, and the honeycomb allows the laser to shoot through the material easily, but it will have some reflections, and you're going to get some burn marks on the back of it. So it depends on what you want to do. Normally, when you're cutting, you use the honeycomb. Unless you're doing cutting paper, I wouldn't use a flat bed. What was the rest of the question? Sorry.
Well, just curious. So they've got both the aluminum table and the honeycomb table, and which one would be best for cutting? They're cutting wood cartons, I guess, and they're curious about which one they should use.
Honeycomb.
Probably the honeycomb, then, I guess.
Yeah, 100%.
This is one we have from Kelowna, BC. Customer's name is Phil. They're saying they're putting a customer's logo on a. Oh, okay. So I'm putting a logo on a customer-supplied crib board, like the board game board. How do I center it on job control? I only have one chance to make it right. So if you had a logo, whatever it is, if you just had a circle, whatever you want to quickly, if you want to whip something up.
Use the laser head. Use the laser head. The laser head, you can align anything to it. So use the laser head with the laser pointer directly at the center point where you want it to be engraved.
Right.
Make your file and create a marker, center to the marker, and here you go. if you have a Rayjet, that it's a little bit harder, I would say, because the laser head on the Rayjet is on the tube, so it's really thick. And for me to be like looking over here, it's a little bit trickier. But if you're using a Speedy, the laser head is really kind of detached from the arm,
Mhm.
and you can see perfectly. However, that might be a good idea for our next week thing, right? Something that I need alignment, like phone cases or something like that. That you
Definitely.
don't have a lot of leeway to work with. You cannot do as many mistakes.
If you guys would
as you
like to
can
see
with-
that, please let us know because we would be happy to try and do that.
Yeah.
I have to say too, we have customers who do incredible phone cases using their Trotec, and I will have to refer you to their Instagram once I find it here. I have another one here. So we have people actually asking. So they have a Speedy 300, and I think this is pretty universal across all our machines. But I want to ask. So they ask. This is, pardon me, from Josh in Elginburg, Ontario. They're asking, is adding a rotary option? They say to a Speedy 300, but just let's say to a Trotec, a big job, or is it pretty much plug and go? What software is best for designing on round items like mugs with, sort of rotary engraving, planned for them?
It's all preference, honestly. Software wise, you don't. Yeah, it's all preference, man. Like there are people that use exclusively AutoCAD to do engraving, which is insane to me. But
Agents of chaos.
yeah, I don't know. Like that's up to you. You can do anything you want, whatever works best for you, and helps you visualize what you need.
Is it difficult to add the rotary to? I know you showed us in a couple of videos how to add a rotary to your Trotec, but I mean, is it like a big to do, or is it like pretty easy to do? What do you
It
find?
is heavy. It is heavy. I think it like weighs like 15 kilos, 20 kilos. The rotary, the 4300, but it's not hard, and we have YouTube videos showing step by step how to do that. So don't take my word for it. Go watch it, so you can actually
Definitely.
see how it works. But yes, it's pretty easy.
Miguel's done some great videos. I mean, if you guys really like working with Miguel and you have a tricky technique that you want to learn about, he does also offer training. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can definitely send him an email at academy@troteclaser.ca, right?
Yes.
And he'll be very happy to get back to you. And you get to talk to Miguel, which is pretty cool. I get to do it for a living. I get to talk to Miguel professionally. So we have someone here asking about our metallic business cards. So we do offer anodized aluminum business cards. They are really, really cool, and they really create an interesting like effect when you like slap one down. Okay, really quickly, in a nutshell, we offer two different kinds of laser sources at Trotec principally. We have like a CO2 laser source and a fiber optic laser source. Typically, the CO2 laser source works with any sort of organic material. So, I mean, wood is CO2, paper CO2, all of your plastics and acrylics and stuff, you would typically use CO2. And obviously, stop me if I'm wrong, Miguel. I mean, textiles, CO2, that sort of thing. The only area where the CO2 is not as strong is it's not able to natively mark into metal surfaces, any like raw metal. So it won't be able to mark your titanium, your stainless steel, anything like that. But your fiber optic laser would. Fortunately, though, if you were interested in learning about the anodized aluminum business cards, you only need a CO2 laser. You don't actually need the flex or the fiber optic to make that work. A CO2 can take off the anodization on the top surface without having to actually mark directly down into the metal itself. You guys ask really good questions. Let me see here.
Look, since you already held everybody there for all this time, the thing is like another 15 seconds and it's going to be done. 20
Sweet.
seconds.
I'm excited.
So you guys can see how it works. A little bit bigger, right?
Yeah.
And do I have a
Try and
magic
pull
eraser here?
back here into the. You might have a non-brand specific enchanted erasing square.
Yes. Thank you, my Steam producer.
I kind of like streaming from in here. I like streaming from Leb's office. It's really great, but I love like the aesthetics of having all these great like samples and lasers and stuff behind me. Like I'm in a really cool space, you guys. I feel very, very fortunate.
There's a chance this might not work, so Don't judge me if it doesn't.
Never. Listen, especially in like 2 weeks, if I'm going to run the laser, I'm really never going to judge you. I don't now, but man, believe you me.
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you my camera.
All right,
It's better.
I'll make it. I'll make you the.
Okay. Pretty cool, right?
That is really cool, man.
This looks cool. Let me see if this is actually gonna light up.
Is it going to fit in the base?
It does fit, but it doesn't light up. I mean, not the way that I want it. It's kind of far from the bottom. I make it too.
We're gonna figure that out. I mean, like we have some techniques we're gonna try this week of using like a grid to disperse light across the back and stuff like that.
It's too light.
Can you shut off the lights just to see if we can get it any better at all?
Maybe. Let's see.
I can definitely see the color of the light now for sure.
This is changing the lights. It kind of disperses itself only on the bottom. You see, so if it was a little bit stronger, it would definitely go all over the thing, but it's only picking up the bottom. Right?
One thing you guys can look into, and this is
this is too big. Yeah, this one is better.
That's really cool, man. And again, one thing you guys can look into, do a Google like we've been doing lately, and we've been experimenting with. If you cut sort of a similar outline shape as the piece you're already putting in, and then cut like a very intricate set of grids across the back for like a printed piece on the front where it's like a solid color, you won't see the grid through, say in this case, your Springbok. It helps to diffuse the light across the entire piece, and you don't necessarily need to have LEDs all across the back to make sure that it spreads out. But I don't want to try and explain it. You can trust Miguel's math, but not my science for sure. This feels weird. Hold on, I just like that I can do that now. It's cool. Listen, we've been going for just over an hour, and I really appreciate that you guys have hung out with us for this long. I think we're probably going to call it pretty soon here at Ceylon. Yeah, I'm sure that we can be a great gift for the diehard Springbok supporters. Yeah, I think that is really, really cool. We appreciate you guys watching as always. Again, if you haven't filled out the survey, you can reach it at bit.ly/1hourpromo, like it says in the description there. We always welcome your feedback. We would love to see any pieces that you guys design, either for an LED sign or using the blend tool like Miguel was showing. Anything you want to put together would be really, really cool. I have to say, we'll be back next week with another really cool project. I don't know exactly what we're going to do yet, but if you have any suggestions, we'd love if you would reach out and let us know. Miguel, any final thoughts?
Yes. Sorry it took so long. Let's go. Bye, guys. See you next week. Been an hour and a half already, dude. Let's go.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.